I rise today to announce the formal introduction of an amendment to H.R. 2579. That H.R. 2579 is the vehicle for immigration. This amendment is co-sponsored by Senators Cornyn, Tillis, Lankford, Perdue, Cotton, and Ernst. It is a product of several months of hard work between these senators, including the White House. Since this past September, I've held more than 24 meetings with interested senators in an attempt to craft a fair and permanent solution to Daca. I've also met with the President on 4 separate occasions to figure out exactly what he needs to see in a legislative package so that it can be signed into law. Because what is the point of our working hard if we're not going to get something that's going to be finalized by a signature from the President of the United States? And I just said I've met with the President on 4 separate occasions. I should have said that this group of introducers of this legislation met with the President on those 4 occasions. But most importantly, I've been continuously listening to what my colleagues have said that they need in any immigration consensus. As a result of our meetings and conversations with our colleagues, the senators sponsoring this amendment have attempted to develop a simple, common-sense framework that can address everyone's concerns while also providing necessary and critical changes to our nation's immigration laws. So what does our amendment do? Working off the bipartisan, bicameral framework agreed to January 9th at the White House, our amendment has 4 key pillars. Now, I said bipartisan, bicameral. That's approximately 2,300 members of Congress that met with the President for an hour and a half to boil down all the issues that can be brought up, and we ended up with these 4 key pillars. First and most importantly, our amendment fully funds the President's border security request. Other plans that we've heard about claim that they fund the President's border security request by, I want to put this word in quotes, authorizing money. But anyone who knows Washington knows that just an authorization turns out to be a gimmick sometimes. It turns out to be a promise sometimes, or an IOU to maybe fund something at some later date. And every member of the United States Senate knows that in this town, Washington, D.C., promises are quite cheap. We went down the road in 2006 when Congress authorized money for border fencing, much of which Congress never actually funded. Our amendment rejects that approach. Instead, we actually appropriate $25 billion into a border security trust fund. This trust fund will allow Homeland Security to use between $2.5 and $3 billion a year for infrastructure, for technology, and for personnel recruitment and retention. By setting up a border security trust fund, we ensure that the Department of Homeland Security will actually have the money that it needs every single year to secure our borders, while also retaining Congress's ability to exercise oversight. But unlike other plans, we also recognize that real border security is more than just throwing money at the border. This group of senators realize that real border security means that we have to close the legal loopholes in the current law that allow dangerous criminals to enter and remain at large within our country. So our amendment ends these dangerous loopholes and makes it easier for our law enforcement to apprehend, detain, and speedily remove sex offenders, drug smugglers, human traffickers, international terrorists, criminal gang members, repeat border crossers, drunk drivers, and other dangerous people. Second, our amendment provides a generous and permanent solution for Daca and Daca-eligible recipients. Our plan contains an earned path to citizenship for these young people, provided these young men and women have no criminal record and either serve in the military, attain a college or vocational degree, or maintain full-time employment. They can eventually gain citizenship. This represents a major concession for many Republicans, including this senator, but this concession is necessary to provide a permanent and fair solution to this issue. Third pillar, our proposal reforms family-based immigration to place greater emphasis on nuclear family. Moving forward, we limit family-based immigration to the nuclear family, meaning the spouses and minor children of citizens and lawful permanent residents. This change doesn't end family-based immigration. It simply recognizes that extended family immigration doesn't serve the American people or our country's economy's interest. It's important for all of my colleagues to recognize these family-based changes are prospective. This means that all 4 million immigrants who are waiting in line for a family-based petition will continue to have their petitions processed under the old rules. This group of senators understands that we can't penalize the millions of people who actually follow the law, and by following the law, doing the right thing. In addition to rewarding those who did the right thing by grandfathering all pending petitions in the pipeline, it will take years, by some estimates more than a decade, for Congress to debate and enact merit-based immigration reform. Finally, our plan reallocates the 55,000 visas in the diversity visa lottery to clearing backlogs in the family-based and employment-based backlogs. By reallocating these visas, we not only promote faster family reunification, but also speed up the immigration of skilled workers in the EB1, EB2, and EB3 categories. As you can see, this is an eminently fair plan that closely mirrors the president's framework. This plan is a true compromise. Supporting it will require concessions from all senators, conservatives, liberals, Democrats, Republicans, and everyone in between. This senator is ready and willing to make a major concession and once again vote for a path to citizenship. Other senators need to be willing to do the same, to make sacrifices when it comes to border security and to chain migration. But at the end of the day, in spite of everything else, the simple fact remains that this amendment is the only plan that the president supports. This plan is the only Senate plan that has any possibility of passing the House of Representatives and becoming law. So, I have asked my colleagues who oppose this proposal, are you interested in actually getting something done, in actually providing a path to citizenship for these Daca kids? Or are you interested in a political issue for the 2018 elections? If you're actually interested in getting something done, in getting a bill signed into law and fixing the Daca issue, well, the choice is obvious. You will vote to support this plan. But if my colleagues are more interested in grandstanding, in passing a bill that will never become law and that won't actually protect Daca kids, well, that choice is pretty clear as well. To all my colleagues, I urge your support for this amendment. Let's fix this issue. Let's demonstrate that we can find solutions to the challenging problems that Americans are calling on us to solve. This is a compassionate compromise, and the people that have been advocating for this for years, longer than I have been, because I've been at it just a short period of time, let them accept a compassionate compromise. Let them do what they've called for being done for a long period of time, settling the Daca issue once and for all. Let's then show the world that we're serious about finding a long-term solution instead of kicking the problem to a future date. I yield the floor.